Hello and welcome to Midday Live from the News Hub here at Adesawe Kanda in Accra. My name is Efua Tiku. The headlines this afternoon. Irate youth at Ablekuma Mahia protest over deplorable roads. Cargo tracking note policy to be rolled out from today, Monday, October 15, despite youths challenging its implementation. Government to open competitive tender process to auction 6 out of 9 prepared oil blocks in the Tano Basin offshore, keep 3 points in the Western region. We have all these stories and more, including business and sports, in the next 60 minutes. To stay with us. Now, in our very first story, a group calling itself Concerned Youth of Afajato South District has called for a parliamentary inquiry into the dismissal of the former Vice-Chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba, Professor Mauto Avoke. The group, at a media briefing at Logbalotota in the Volta region, claimed his removal was politically motivated.
The removal of Professor Mauto Avoke as Vice-Chancellor of University of Education Winneba followed a long battle which was later determined by the law courts. But the youth of Afajato South think they were more than meet the eye. They claimed only indigents from the Volta were targeted.
We are looking at justice for the dismissed staffs. Those are the Mr. Avoke and the others who were dismissed on frivolous grounds. We want justice for them. And 2, we want due process to be followed in their dismissal. And indeed, if there is no due process, we want them reinstated and apologized to.
Secretary of the Concerned Youth, Samson Kujo Aite, therefore called for a parliamentary inquiry.
We believe in the independence of the arms of government, and we believe in the hard work of the media, ostensibly becoming the 4th arm of government. We know that you also probe into this, and the inquiries from both the parliamentary sector and the media will help us to resolve this issue largely.
And back here in Accra, irate youth at Ablekuma Mahia have been demonstrating against bad roads in their community. Traders, workers and school children were stuck as they could not cross through, burning tires to get through.
Commuters in Ablekuma Mahia have woken up to a very desperate situation of a roadblock that's preventing them from going into town for their daily activities. Now, some of the residents have blocked the road, burning tires and demonstrating against what they call the poor nature of the roads. The police and the fire service are here trying to maintain calm as the situation develops.
You can see the crowd here, how the people are more aggressive. As you can see, we have always, we've been complaining several times about the poor nature of the road here from Bokoboko leading to Mahia. And in fact, we have not seen anything. We have not seen anything here. So today, we are demonstrating for the government also to know that we have a problem here. But our MP also has a responsibility to play. Yes. Since we voted for you, have not seen him here. We asked permission from the police, and the police say we should hold on. This is not a demonstration. It's awareness that we are creating for them to know that we have a problem. But if it is demonstration, we will start from Boko up to Mahia, and I tell you yourself, you cannot even get here, as you see, since you came here.
But you see, right now, the situation here is rather affecting the residents, because the lawmaker is not being affected by what is happening here. Don't you think that you are rather affecting the residents of the area?
You are right. That is why we have stopped for now.
I say too much. Manya, Insakina, Oduma, Joma. In fact, Ablekuma Road from Ablekuma. Where the Musa could play Kumasi, where the Musa could play Kaswa. I say too much. In fact, I say a cast. A man in him, Omoka was now a quantity, Omunian sending your assess.
Wasn't pretty and was they are in a scuffle with the police. They tires to defend them, and the police are trying to prevent them from escalating the situation. Now, the residents are promised to make things very different. This is not the first time that residents of Ablekuma have engaged in a demonstration over the condition of the road.
Away from that demonstration, let's take a look at another troubling issue. And that is the cargo tracking note system, the CTN policy, which takes off today, October 15. Now, the intervention is intended to scrutinize major import for both valuation and security management purposes.
The policy was piloted from July 1, but was suspended in August following agitation by the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, and the Ghana Institution of Freight Forwarders. The two groups claimed the introduction of the policy would place further financial burden on traders, which government has denied. Some of the issues raised by the agitators were the lack of legal framework for the policy, breach of international treaties, and impediment to trade facilitation. According to the GRA, imports which exceed 36 20-foot equivalent units per year will be required to obtain a CTN number in the country of export. This means any importer who imported less than 36 TEU per year is exempted from CTN compliance. The exemptions are to ensure that small and medium-scale importers, mostly petty traders, small distributors, and other small to medium businesses were free from the requirement of the intervention. The Ghana Union of Trade Associations, GUTA, has reportedly backed down on its opposition to the policy. Meanwhile, a freight forwarder, John Kwame Edu Jack, has dragged the Ghana Revenue Authority, the Commissioner General, and the GRA and CTN Ghana Limited to court for a declaration that the introduction and implementation of the CTN policy was illegal, unconstitutional, and a breach of provisions in trade agreement.
Let's still stay on the CTN, and the Ghana Revenue Authority argues that there has been enough consultation with stakeholders. The Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, is insisting their concerns have not been addressed. Now, denying earlier claims that GUTA had dropped all its disagreements against the cargo tracking notes, national organizer of GUTA, Clement Boateng, said the policy is discriminatory and lacks the backing and support of most unions.
The issues of the legal aspect, they've not been able to say anything about it. They have said government has rights, to do anything. But we all know that when it comes to the issues of revenue in this country, revenue collection in this country, it must be backed by law. And the only place that you have to go, for it to be assented to is the parliament. Yes. So they have not been able to, answer some of these questions that we have raised. And they are saying, oh, we should allow the thing to, to be implemented. I really think it is not the best. What loopholes are they talking about? This CTN, as far as we are concerned, this CTN was started by the U.S. government after the 9/11 issue. And the main reason of coming out with this CTN is to check security. Because America thought, because of what has happened in America, they think they have to bring in a system that will check, goods coming into America or any of American facilities all over the world. They have to check, those goods to see whether maybe there may be some contraband goods or armor or something in the container. So that is the main issue. That is why this CTN was brought. And after American practicing it for some time, the International Maritime Organization also thought that it was good. So then they advised each member country, to also start implementing it. So basically, it was for security reasons. But what we are seeing with the implementation of this CTN by Ghana is basically for revenue generation. And if they are talking about revenue generation, we don't have anything against it. But the issues that we have raised is what they must address. And even if they're talking about this generation, there's this revenue generation, there's already a system in place. That is the PAA, that is the pre-arrival assessment system is already in place. And they also have a manifest system in place that, all goes to check these loopholes that they are talking about. So what is their beef? So we think it's just a group of people who want to, by all means, try as much as possible to implement this CTN for their own selfish benefit. And we think it is not right for Ghanaians.
Now let's go onto the phone lines and speak with my Paul Soa, my colleague who is at the GRA press briefing. My Paul, we do understand that the implementation of the CTN is beginning today, and also we know that there's a suit against that implementation. So what has the GRA been saying at the press briefing? My Paul, can you hear me?
The Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority held a press conference, and he said that effective from today, importers whose imports from their records exceed 36 20-foot container per year will be required to obtain a CTN number from the country of export. Hello?
Yes, Michael, go ahead.
Yes, so the requirement for the CTN from the country of export does not just apply to all importers, but importers whose imports exceed 36 20-foot containers will be required to have the CTN. And that means that if your import is below 36 20-foot container, this does not apply to you. And he did say that this only applies to some 5% of the general importers in the country. So if your import is below... Hello?
Yes, go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, so if your import is below 36-foot container, you will not be required to have the CTN from the country of export. And this exemption, he said, is to ensure that small and medium-scale importers, mostly traders and market women, and other small businesses, have some form of freedom to operate in their business.
Right. Michael, we also know, or we understand that a freight forwarder has taken the GRA to court over the CTN. Did they mention it during the press briefing? Did they talk about it?
Yes, he did. He said he has not personally received any suit from anybody. And so therefore, that's why they are continuing with the program. And practically, he did say that no suit has been brought to him. And so therefore, they are continuing with the program. The question keeps coming back and forth, and he emphatically said that no suit has been brought to him.
Right, but we know that there's opposition to the CTN. How are they managing that opposition as they start the implementation?
Sorry, please, I didn't hear you.
I asked that there's opposition to the CTN by GUTA, by the freight forwarder. So how are they managing that opposition even as they start the implementation of the CTN today?
Yes, because he said that it's not every importer. Only if you import more than 36. Therefore, majority of the importers in the country, this will not apply to them. It will not apply to 95% of importers in the country. Only 5% of importers in the country would be required to use the CTN. And it's something that would take a little while in November before they would cross-check. So effectively, if you are importing into the country from today, wherever you are importing from, they would have to provide the number, the CTN number. So that would reflect next month in November. So it's not something readily that they would be under pressure. So there's some time for importers to apply the new regulation.
Thank you very much, my Paul Soa at the GRA press briefing. Now let's go on to the roads, because the Ashanti, a physician at the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital in Kumasi, Dr. Maxwell Osei Ampofo, is blaming the high number of road accident deaths on poor handling of victims before transporting them to health facilities. He was speaking on the sidelines of a road safety forum in Kumasi. Here is a report by Ibrahim Abubakar.
Road accidents keep increasing despite several interventions by stakeholders. 304 lives have been lost in the Ashanti region compared to 228 deaths over the same period last year. The region recorded 2,194 injured persons compared to 1,631 last year in 1,949 accident cases. A physician at the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital, Dr. Maxwell Osei Ampofo, attributed the high number of accident deaths to poor handling of the victims at the accident scene before being transported to the hospital.
The statistics released by the National Road Safety Commission for the Midday report 2018 shows that every month 202 people are losing their lives from injuries, road traffic crashes, which is very worrying. I'm sure that if there was any disease killing 202 people every month, all of us would be in arms, all of us would be crying.
Dr. Sampofu called for the incorporation of basic emergency care into the curriculum of both the police and the fire service to minimize the avoidable deaths.
So that is where, National Ambulance Service also comes in to make sure that, they transport people timelessly to where they are supposed to go. Now, I will plead, with, Ghana Police Service and other services that provide, a first response when people get injured, that they incorporate into their curriculum a basic emergency care course for all the police, fire service to do likewise, and DVLA should make sure that a basic emergency care course is also incorporated into the training of all drivers. Even sometimes just the handling of the people who are injured can make it worse.
The Ashanti Regional Commander of Motor Transport and Traffic Department, Chief Superintendent Frank Abrakwa, advised road users to observe road traffic regulations.
Normally, when we come to the last quarter, starting October to 31st December, because of the activities, Christmas activities, and even particularly this year, the rains are in. So we expect drivers to be more cautious when they are on the roads. This excessive speeding, overspeeding, carrying excess passengers, and driving and at the same time being on phone is a very dangerous activity that's creeping into our system, that we need to advise our drivers and other road users to be more careful on the road.
Now let's look at some political stories now, because flag-bearer aspirant of the National Democratic Congress, Alban Bagbing, has been meeting the media about his quest to lead the party. At a news conference, we understand Fritz Bafo, former MP for Ablekuma South, declared his support for the candidature of Alban Bagbing. I've been joined on the lines by Evelyn Tingma, my colleague. Evelyn, who else is backing Alban Bagbing? Hello, Evelyn, can you hear me? Evelyn, I'm asking who else is in the team of Alban Bagbing? Oh, we seem to have a difficulty with that line. We'll get back to Evelyn very shortly. You're watching Midday Live on TV3. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back. Welcome back. Now, flag-bearer aspirant of the National Democratic Congress, Alban Bagbing, has been meeting the media about his quest to lead the party. At a news conference, we understand Fritz Bafo, former MP for Ablekuma South, declared his support for the candidature of Alban Bagbing. My colleague Evelyn Tingma joins me on the phone lines. Evelyn, we understand Fritz Bafo has joined the team of Alban Bagbing. What does he bring on board?
Yes, therefore, it is true indeed. Fritz Bafo has joined the Bagbing team as the Director of Campaign and Communication for the team. And well, like Bagbing said, he is going for quality and not quantity. And so he believes that Fritz Bafo is has those qualities that he needs in his team. And so Fritz himself said that he is focused, and then he will ensure that he work as a group or as a team to ensure that he works for the people and to bring hope to the people. And that is basically what he is bringing on board. He's also saying that there are lots of opportunities and others in the team, and that he will want to bring out all those issues out to the Ghanaian people as well.
And what about Alban Bagbing? What did he say? What is on his mind at this time as he begins this campaign?
Yes, he's happy that Fritz Bafo has joined the team, and he says Fritz is a wise counsel. He's very mature, disciplined, and focused. and that is why he is happy that he has joined the team. And so he believes that he will bring a lot to the background campaign team. And so he's hoping that they will change a lot of things, especially in the party, in the NDC party. And well, he said they have worked for a very long time. The two of them have worked for a very long time before the two of them joined politics. And so he believes in his ability. And so for that matter, they are really hoping that they will win that will win the flag bearership for the NDC. And that is what they are aiming at. And they will do all their campaigning devoid of insults, but they will make sure that if there is a need to criticize, they criticize constructively.
Thank you very much, Evelyn Tingma. You're watching Midday Live on TV3. It's now time for business.
The business news segment is brought to you by MTN. Everywhere you go, Universal Merchant Bank, Serene Insurance, FECO Spray Starch.
The government will today open a competitive tender process to auction 6 out of 9 prepared oil blocks in the Tano Basin offshore Cape 3 Points in the Western region. Now, the move, which the industry has welcomed as timely, also fulfills the country's plan to increase the production of oil and gas to generate more revenue for development while ensuring greater transparency and value for money in oil resource utilization.
Out of the 9 blocks, 6 will be allocated between 2018 and 2019, while the remaining 3 will form the basis for a second round bidding where nationals are expected to feature prominently. The first 6 blocks have reportedly seen high expression of interest attributed to the low risk level of the basin and existing infrastructure such as 3 independent oil production platforms, pipelines, subsea structures for the tie-in of marginal fields, and unification of nearby discoveries in the Western Basin. It is the first time the country's oil blocks will be offered to investors in a competitive tendering process since the repealed PNDCL 1984, which used to regulate oil and gas exploration and production activities in the country, was said to be less transparent and ineffective. Under the current Petroleum Exploration and Production Act 2016, Act 919, exploration and production rights will now be awarded through an open, transparent, and competitive tendering process, also known under the law as the licensing round. The Sector Ministry and the Petroleum Commission, the regulator, believe the process preferred will ensure utmost transparency demanded by both investors and the citizenry.
Poultry farmers in the Bunahafo region have bemoaned the high cost of feed, which they say is crippling their businesses. Some farms, they lamented, have had to fold up due to the high production cost and interest on loans granted by the bank, says a report by Johnson Tichi.
Maize constitutes more than 50% of feed for birds. According to farmers, the price of maize is making it practically impossible to feed their birds.
One price for about 4 to 5 years. We are running the poultry farms at a loss. As input costs keep increasing, our output prices have been fairly constant for many years. We are appealing to the government to stop the importation of poultry and give the contract to Ghanaian poultry farmers. This will help create more jobs.
They anticipate a crisis following the high demand for the staple crop. They fear an imminent shortage of maize, which they blame on the fall armyworm invasion, which has destroyed many hectares of farms. Many poultry farms have had to lay off workers, while others have had to fold up. To them, the National Food Buffer Stock Company, where staple foods are purchased from farmers and stored and sold later, is not an option, because the stock, they argued, could even not be adequate for schools. They also lamented over the high interest of loans they have contracted from banks and importation of frozen chicken.
Interest rate is very high. Interest rates on loans from the banks averaging 30 to 32% is too high for us. It looks like we are working for the banks. We are appealing to the government to help us get soft loans.
The maize take 70% of the total feeding cost. The high cost of the poultry feed is also the major problem. The vaccination, whole lot of continue for up to next year, then most of the poultry farmers will collapse because we find it very difficult to feed the birds. Currently, we have the capacity of 140,000 birds, but we are using 80 bags of maize per every blessed day. And it's kind of unfortunate we don't get the maize to feed the birds. At the moment, 960 Ghana cedis per 50 kilos.
And that's all for business this afternoon. Now let's go back to some of the stories. And the Deputy Ashanti Regional Director of the Ghana Health Services in charge of clinical care, Dr. Adoma Kobuating, has bemoaned the inadequate number of ophthalmologists in the region. The region, with an estimated population of 5.4 million people, has only 8 ophthalmologists. The report by Ibrahim Abubakar.
Dr. Adumako expressed disappointment over the high number of visual impairment due to cataract cases, which he said could easily have been corrected. He blamed the situation on delay in reporting for treatment.
A disease that can be prevented lead to that complication where people are blind. So the emphasis then, as we are stating, is that eye care everywhere. And because if you don't have this service everywhere, then the tendency for people to come with complication is very high. So in terms of Ashanti region, Ghana and globally, the leading form of blindness is cataract.
Dr. Adomako said inadequate ophthalmologists in the region is affecting effective eye care delivery.
What we have done is that we have trained community health officers, and these community health officers go into the communities, and by simple examination, they're able to pick people who will have to be referred to other centers for appropriate treatment. If you are looking at the human resources that we have, for the whole, if you exclude Konfanoche, we have only 8 ophthalmologists in Ashanti region. The centers that can really operate on cataract are the Regional Hospital, Pramso Hospital, St. Michael's Hospital, and then the last one that we can operate is Agogo.
At an event to commemorate World Sight Day, Programs Manager for Orbis International, a health-related NGO, Adolf Olenu, called for support to promote eye care.
Preventable conditions. And so we feel it is important that if you highlight some of these conditions, then we will be in a position to give people a chance to restore their sight and gain their sight back. As you know, the eyes, they say, is always the window to the soul. Primarily, it is always has to do with access to eye health care services. There is also the cost component, and then also there is our behaviors with regards to seeking health care.
The NGO is supporting the Ashanti Regional Health Directorate to train community health officers in 4 districts to help identify eye conditions which require prompt referral for management.
And this afternoon on MTN Video Report, our citizen journalist Prince David reports from Hohoi Blave in the Volta region.
This rubbish container has been here for the past 1 week. It is supposed to be carried every Monday of the week. Today is Thursday, and look at how the whole place is looking nasty. Meanwhile, it is located in the midst of houses around. All these buildings are houses, and this is the Muzama Basic School. Now, the assembly member is aware of this problem. We have spoken to him severally, but nothing seemed to be done about it. I am Prince David, making this video coverage from Hohoi Blave.
Thank you very much, Prince David. You can also send your video report to our WhatsApp platform 055-1433-044. Stay tuned. We have sports after this break.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Midday Live here on TV3. My name is Anako Jafre with the sports updates. The details now. And a hasty and confusing decision by the Beninois referee Adon Betty caused mayhem at the Bukum Boxing Arena. Peter Kawadeto reports the referee signal after WBO Africa Super Bantamweight champion Isaac Saki was knocked down in round 3 sparked the brawl. The intensity and build-up to the fight was matched by the crowd that came out to see the two undefeated national and WBO Africa Super Bantamweight boxers mount the ring inside the sports hall of the Bukum Boxing Arena. Isaac Saki was defending his WBO Africa title and 23 unbeaten records, whilst Wasiu Jatabi Mohammed was defending his relatively young boxing career of 11 straight wins. The challenger went in towards the end of the opening round and caught the champion unaware, but the effort was ruled out as a slip. Round 2 again saw Jatabi dominating to the end, and his fans loved every moment. A hefty right punch from Jatabi in less than 1 minute of the third round sent the champion crashing onto the canvas. Isaac Saki got up swiftly onto his feet, but referee Adon Betty waved a knockout without the mandatory 8 count. He then attempted to show the champion his corner, but was resisted by the boxer. The boxer's coach, Akainete, jumped into the ring and violently pushed the referee in protest, and that was the beginning of the chaos. Within seconds, the ring was full of protesters, leading to a free-for-all fight. Chairs, tables, bottles and offensive weapons went up and crashing down on opposing fans, officials and others on site. It was unclear how dignitaries including JBA President, WBO Africa President and a host of others found their way out of the arena. There was no formal declaration of results, and fights left behind broken bottles, broken chairs and severe damages to the glass doors and windows of the sports hall. It is not clear yet what decision will come from both WBO Africa and the Ghana Boxing Authority, but one thing is clear, that the bout ended prematurely, and whatever decision is made will remain in dispute. And clearly all those involved in that must bow their head in shame, destroying property at the newly built Bukum Boxing Arena. But now let's take you to news on the African continent as far as the 2019 AFCON is concerned. We're bringing you the results from games that were played on Sunday. And you can see on your screen, so 2 games happened on Sunday. Kenya beating Ethiopia by 3-0. Guinea-Bissau also beating Zambia. They actually came back from a goal down to win that one by 2-1. Later on today, we will see Libya take on Nigeria. So that result by Kenya meant that they made a giant step towards the ambitions of making it to the AFCON 2019 with an emphatic win over Ethiopia at the Kasarani Stadium on Sunday. Kenyan sports journalist Michael Okonyi tells us the joy back home is overwhelming.
Is in a celebratory mood. This is Nairobi. It's warm and sunny and very nice. From yesterday, everywhere, the newspapers, on TV, on radio, everybody is just celebrating. You should have seen the fans after the game. They are saying, you should now bring on Brazil. We are ready for any team in the world. But you can understand the euphoria of the fans after that emphatic win over Ethiopia. And the reason is simple. Kenyans know that 4 points from Ethiopia puts them in a very good position to qualify for the Cup of Nations. They know that Ethiopia would have been the greatest challenger to that second position or first position, depending on how Ghana play in these qualifiers, because of course Ghana the favorites to qualify as top of the group. So the second position was what was up for grabs. The situation of Sierra Leone does not worry Kenyans so much because with 4 points and topping the group and being second in the group right now, they know that even if Sierra Leone are readmitted back into the qualifiers, they already lost 6 points to Ghana. Home and away points are already gone. It means they have to win at home against Ethiopia, and the most difficult is they have to come to Nairobi next month and pick up 3 points, meaning they will open up the game. They will not try and sit back. So that gives us an advantage because once they open up the game, because they have to win, we also attack them and we shall win the game very easily. That is the long and short of it. But if Sierra Leone are not readmitted back by CAF, it means Kenya have already qualified. It puts a little bit of complications on the Ethiopian situation and Ghana as well, because Ghana has to go to Bahar Dar and win and hope that Ethiopia, when they come, the win in Bahar Dar will confirm Ghana as also qualifiers. But Ghana will be in position second position, and they'll have to win against Kenya when Kenya comes calling. But that will be a formality because both teams will have already qualified.
On to our next story now. The Ghana Football Association headquarters declared a crime scene some months back as ready for use. Daniel Yabua is our man with the report. The Ghana Football Association Secretariat in Accra is ready to restart full operations from Monday. This was after the Normalization Committee finished putting the building in good condition after a massive cleaning of the Secretariat and painting the entire building. It has been 4 months since the office was shut down following the airing of the expose by investigative journalist Anas Arimeyaw Anas, where some officials were captured on tape allegedly engaging in corrupt practices. The Secretariat was declared a crime scene, but that decision has since been reversed. And now let's bring you some results for games played in the UEFA Nations League. A number of games happened on Sunday night with some interesting results to look forward to. And there you can see the results. So these are games actually coming up later on today in the UEFA Nations League. And Iceland will be up against Switzerland. Spain will take on England. Definitely that one is a cracker. Bosnia and Herzegovina will be up against Northern Ireland. Estonia will take on Hungary. Finland will take on Greece. Belarus will be up against Moldova. So now let's go back to the results of games that were played on Sunday in the UEFA Nations League. And you will see the results shortly on your screens with some interesting results that came up after the games were played in the UEFA Nations League. So you can see on your screens Russia beating Turkey by 2-0. Romania also drawing 0-0 with Serbia. Azerbaijan drawing 1-1 with Malta. The Faroe Islands drew 1-1 with Kosovo. Scotland were at home and lost to Portugal by 3-1, and Poland also drawing 0-0 with Italy in there. On to another news now involving a national player and France. The national midfielder Laurent Koscielny has retired from international duty after criticizing manager Didier Deschamps for his treatment while recovering from injury. The defender ruptured an Achilles in the Europa League semi-final in May and missed out on France's World Cup winning campaign in Russia. Koscielny said lots of people disappointed him during his layoff. Koscielny announced last year that he intended to retire from international football after the World Cup and said missing out on the tournament did not change his mind. But he has said his absence in Russia this summer will remain a dark step in his career. He made 51 appearances for France, making his debut in November 2011 and took part in the European Championship in 2012 and 2016 as well as the 2014 World Cup in Brazil. Let's do some boxing news before we wrap up. And WBC heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder has apologized if he injured a mascot after punching it on U.S. television. It had been reported the American had broken the mascot's jaw when he appeared on Spanish-language sports show Nacion ESPN to promote his upcoming fight against Tyson Fury. Wilder floored the mascot, who was wearing a sombrero and mustache. As the presenters watched on, he denied reports thought he did not know there was somebody inside the costume. Quite unfortunate, but that's all the sports here on Midday Live. My name is Anako Jaffrey. Thanks very much for watching. Good afternoon.
Now, GMB's Upper West representative Noor and Jifa from the Volta region could not survive Sunday's eviction as contestants took turns to educate viewers on the need to practice good hygiene. The decision to kick out Jifa and Noor, according to judges, was informed by performance and accumulated votes.
This is the same water people in my region rely on. They drink from it, cook with it, yet none of you cares. 250 good lashes, said as it said,
The honeymoon days for the contestants was over as the poised contestants faced their first eviction night. The thought of eviction echoed in the minds of the wannabe queens, but the fear of being shown the exit signs spurred on some contestants to put their best foot forward. Posing as sanitation and good hygiene ambassadors, contestants took turns to highlight the dangers in open defecation, littering and water pollution.
Let us always remember to wash our hands with soap and water at critical moments such as after visiting the toilets, after changing diaper, just like what Kappa did. Let us stop open defecation, especially in our water bodies.
Contestants unanimously upheld the need to practice good personal hygiene. The poised contestants crafted and provided insightful messages around the theme, Water is Health. But hours of amazing performances, the hopes of Noor and Jifa to be crowned GMB queens were dashed. The emotional and heartbreaking moment saw other contestants hug their evicted colleagues. Taking the bitter pill wasn't easy for Noor and Jifa.
Yes, it is hard, but that is what has happened. So I think God has a reason for everything. My coming here has a reason, and I think I've learned so far. We thank God for whatever has happened.
I just thank God for everything. God knows best, so I thank Him for everything.
They were appreciative of TV3 for the platform, noting the show offered them the platform to discover themselves. Noor hinted her eviction from the show is not the end of her plans to impact her community. Their chaperone, Nancy, was teary. The judges wished Jifa and Noor well, stressing the eviction was informed by their performance and votes.
Take that book by the tears will come, I know. The tears will come, I know.
Now, the Fantasy Dome came alive on Saturday night as over 19,000 Shatta Movement loyalists and music enthusiasts joined the hitmaker to launch his latest album. Shatta Wale, who has been mocked by Sarkodie for wearing fake chains, brought a gold chain on stage, promising to give it to a Sark fan.
The die-hard fans seized the opportunity to affirm their loyalty to the Shatta Movement empire and their icon, Shatta Wale. After leading the fans to say a prayer, the ball was set for the much anticipated performance. Shatta Wale has in recent times been in the news for his lyrical war with rapper Sarkodie. In his song titled Advice, Sarkodie reduced Shatta Wale to size, asking him to stop bragging, get serious and focused. The lyrics of the song also mocked Shatta Wale for wearing fake and aluminium chain. Obviously peeved by the punchline, Shatta Wale used the opportunity to correct what he described as a false impression. He laughed off Sarkodie's claims, noting he wears expensive and gold-plated chains.
where the second day in fact. I won't give him a gold chain. What? Make it go check. If I ever wear a uniform, what go?
Replying Sarkodie, Shatta, who wielded a gold chain, dared to gift it to a Sarkodie fan to prove he doesn't wear fake stuff.
You see this chain? Yes. I go take just somebody. Make the person go check. But so far Sarkodie fan no there.
Shatta Wale joined his baby mama, Shatta Michi, on stage to perform their jointly recorded songs. A major surprise on the night was when Shatta asked Shatta Michi to marry him.
I mean, people know say I love this girl, right? I just want to ask her one question for me. Shatta Michi, will you marry me?
Their relationship has seen a lot of ups and downs, but to many, the gesture signaled great prospects for their union.
I go take bullets for you. Make I protect you with my bullet. Left to left to love ya.
Our news reaching TV3 Entertainment indicates that multiple award-winning dancehall acts Samini and Stonebwoy were at the launch of the Rain album to surprise Shatta Wale and his fans, but their gesture was turned down. Samini took to his Twitter handle to condemn the treatment meted out to him after he had congratulated Shatta Wale on his album launch. The post read, "Congrats Shatta Wale on your album launch, just like you once wanted to surprise me on Samini First Stage and I let you. I'd wanted to do the same, but I waited in the car together with Stonebwoy for over an hour, only to be told you refused the gesture." Samini further indicated that he was disturbed by the turn of events as his act was to support a fellow Ghanaian act. There were rumors that Samini and Stonebwoy were at the Fantasy Dome to surprise Shatta Wale by performing on the same stage with him as he did during Samini's Samini Fest and Stonebwoy's A Shy Man to the World concert. It is, however, unknown if Shatta Wale did really turn down the gesture, for it was sanctioned by a third party. And that's all for Midday Live for today. My name is Efua Tieko. For more news, do go to 3news.com. Have a lovely afternoon.